Rainy rescues and late-night talks, the sweetness that hurt most. Downtown, the rain came down in sheets, turning the sidewalks into rivers and making the streetlights glow like fuzzy orbs. Amy, a young graphic designer with a canvas tote slung over her shoulder, hurried along, her umbrella flapping uselessly in the wind. It had started as a light drizzle when she left the office, but now the rain was soaking through her sweater, making her shiver. She rounded a corner, trying to dodge a puddle, when her foot slipped on a patch of wet concrete. She yelped, arms windmilling as she started to fall, until a strong hand clamped around her elbow, steadying her. "Whoa, easy there," said a voice warm and deep. Amy looked up to find a man with damp brown hair, his own umbrella tilted to shield both of them from the rain. He was holding a guitar case under his other arm, and his eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled. "Umbrellas around here don't stand a chance in this wind," he said, reaching over to right hers with a quick flick of his wrist. "I'm Jack," he said, extending a hand. "Amy," she replied. When he offered to walk her to her apartment a few blocks away, she found herself agreeing. They splashed through puddles as they walked, talking about everything from the stray cat that lived outside her building to his job fixing up old guitars. By the time they reached her door, the rain had slowed to a mist, and Amy realized she didn't want the conversation to end. "Thanks for saving me from a faceplant," she said, grinning. Jack laughed. "Any time. Maybe I could buy you a coffee sometime? To make sure you're not still shaken up." They started meeting every week, first for coffee, then for walks in the park, then for dinner. It happened on a Tuesday, the kind of gray, drizzly evening that wraps the world in a soft, fuzzy haze. They'd been at a friend's art show, Amy giggling as Jack faked expertise on abstract paintings. "See that blue? Total yearning. Trust me, I'm a professional." And by the time they stepped outside, the rain had thinned to a mist that beaded in their hair and clung to their jackets like a secret. Jack walked her to her door as he always did, but when he started to say good night, Amy found herself inching closer, her palm brushing the damp cotton of his shirt. "Stay," she said, the words slipping out before her brain could catch up. His eyes flickered with surprise, then melted into something warm. "Yeah," he said, voice low enough that she felt it more than heard it. "I'd like that." Inside, she brewed tea while he wandered her living room, pausing to study the sketches taped to her walls, city skylines, the tabby that loitered outside her building, a half-finished portrait of him she'd hidden behind a postcard. "You drew me?" he asked, turning with a smile that made her collarbones tingle. She shrugged, passing him a mug. "It's not right. Your nose is weirdly hard to get just so." He laughed, setting the mug down to pull her close, his hands sliding around her waist as he kissed her. Slower than their first kiss in the park, deeper, like he was savoring the moment. The evening unfolded in slow motion, no rush, no agenda. They talked on her couch until the tea went cold, then migrated to the floor, propped against the coffee table as Jack told stories about his dad teaching him guitar, how he'd shattered his first instrument trying to mimic a rock star's stage dive. Amy told him about her mom, gone since she was 16, and the recipe box stashed under the sink. "I can never get the sugar cookies right," she admitted. "They always turn out like bricks." Jack brushed a wet strand from her forehead. "Teach me. We'll burn a few batches. Together." Later, when their lips met again, it wasn't just a kiss. His hands tangled in her hair, hers fisting the back of his shirt, the press of his body against hers as they stumbled toward her bedroom. The world shrank to the sound of their breathing, the soft whisper of fabric hitting the floor, the way he murmured her name like it was something to cherish. He was gentle, deliberate, as if he knew she was letting him see parts of herself she kept padlocked. And when it was over, they lay tangled in the sheets, rain pattering against the window. Jack traced constellations on her arm, his finger following the curve of her elbow, the same spot he'd grabbed to steady her that first day. "Funny, isn't it?" he said. Amy smiled, pressing her cheek to his chest, listening to the steady thump of his heart. "Yeah. Kinda perfect, actually." He stayed till morning, leaving only when she had to dash to work, pausing at the door to kiss her slow. "Tonight?" he asked. "Tonight," she promised. But something shifted after that. Not the quiet settling she'd hoped for, but a slow, creeping unease. At first, it was small things, a text that took hours to reply to, a cancelled dinner with a vague work ran late, a laugh that didn't reach his eyes when she told him about her day. Amy brushed it off, chalking it up to stress. He did mention the guitar shop was swamped with repairs after all. But doubt, once planted, tends to grow. It started with the necklace. He'd given it to her after their "I love you" night, a dainty silver chain with a tiny guitar pick pendant. "Saw it and thought of you," he'd said, fastening it around her neck. 2 weeks later, she ran into a barista from the cafe they frequented, a girl with a pixie cut and a smile that looked familiar. "Cute necklace," the girl said, gesturing to her own throat. Around it hung the same chain, same pendant. "My boyfriend Jack gave it to me. Said it was one of a kind." Amy's tongue went numb. She mumbled something about it being a coincidence and fled, the pendant burning against her skin. She tried to ignore it. Told herself the barista was confused. But then he canceled their plans for her birthday, claiming a family emergency. "My cousin's in the hospital," he texted with a sad emoji. That same night, a friend sent her a photo. Jack at a downtown club, arms slung around a red-haired girl, grinning as he held up a shot glass. The background? The same club he'd once said he hated, too loud. "Rather be with you." The final straw came on a rainy evening, fittingly. Amy, sick with worry and a cold, called him, voice trembling. "Where are you?" she asked. "At the shop," he said, the clink of tools in the background. "Fixing a vintage Strat." "Why?" She didn't answer. She was standing outside the shop, its sign dark, the door locked. Through the window, she could see the half-repaired guitar he'd shown her weeks ago, still propped on the workbench, dust gathering on its strings. When she confronted him later, Amy did not know she was not ready for that. To be continued.